Agile methodology. Agile is a project management approach developed as a more flexible and efficient way to get products to market. The word agile refers to the ability to move quickly and easily. The agile method works in ongoing sprints of project planning and execution, enabling to continuously adapt and mature the plan, scope, and design throughout the project. Agile projects require an iterative approach which supports incremental, frequent, and consistent delivery of workable products to the customer or the clients. This innovative approach ensures the project team can consistently deliver concrete products without being delayed by changes and evolving requirements. 5 stages of the Agile life cycle. The first stage is the project initiation. During this stage, an Agile project charter is developed to discuss the project vision and ROI, return on investment justifications. Second stage is the planning. It includes building a backlog which discuss and create a backlog at the story level. Upskilling and cross-skilling emphasizes the importance of team members learning new skills and cross skills. Value stream management integrate data-driven decision making into the planning process with value system management. User stories describes what the end user expects from the product, including the user type and the reason for the feature. Business context consider the larger business opportunity and its impact on project viability. Risk assessment assess and estimate the project's potential risk. Milestone development create an initial release plan that includes critical milestones. Prioritization makes certain that the backlog items are prioritized based on their business value and dependencies. Third stage is the development. This stage produce high quality functional products in small increments called the sprints or iterations. Fourth stage is the production. It ensures that the product is produced and deployed efficiently. Last stage is the retirement stage. Products are retired for a variety of reasons. Most of the time this is because a newer release is being deployed and or the older release is no longer supported. In this case, the newer system may receive some financial minor software updates. Scrum framework. The Scrum methodology was developed in the 1990s based on a Harvard Business Review's article titled The New Product Development Game. Most project managers would name Scrum as the most popular Agile framework. As with other Agile frameworks, Scrum enables an iterative approach to project management. The Scrum methodology prescribes breaking a project down into sprints that typically only last 1 to 4 weeks. Each sprint ends with the completion of a workable version or draft of the final project deliverable. The Scrum approaches short iterations enable the team to continuously deliver a working version of the final product. Scrum was initially designed using a software model that follows a set of roles, responsibilities, and meetings. It is flexible enough to be used for any complex projects in any industry but works best when your product results in a concrete product rather than a service. Scrum process. There are 3 phases in Scrum. First phase is the outline planning and architectural design. This phase is used to establish the general objectives for the project and design the software architecture. Second phase is the sprint cycles. where each cycle develops an increment of the system. Third is the project closure phase, wraps up the projects, completes requirement documentation such as system, help frames and user manuals, and assess roles and responsibilities. Scrum team consists three roles: product owner, scrum master and development team. Product master is the facilitator who arranges daily meetings, tracks the backlog of work to be done, records decisions, measures progress against the backlog, and communicate with customers and management outside of the team. The innovative feature of Scrum is its central phase, namely the sprint cycles. Yes, Scrum Sprint is a planning unit in which the work to be done is assessed, features are selected for development, and the software is implemented. Key characteristics of this process are: sprints are fixed length, normally 2 to 4 weeks. They correspond to the development of a release of the system in XP. The starting point for planning is the product backlog, which is the list of work to be done on the project. During the assessment phase of the sprint, this is reviewed and prioritized. The risks are assigned. The customer is closely involved in this process and can introduce new requirements or task at the beginning of each sprint. The selection phase involves all of the project team who work with the customer to select the features and functionality to be developed during the sprint. Once these are agreed, the team organizes themselves to develop the software. At the end of the sprint, the work done is reviewed and presented to stakeholders. The next sprint cycles then begin. Scrum in Agile requires particular roles and responsibilities, including the product owner. The product owner on a project is the person responsible for reporting the customer's best interest. This person has the ultimate authority over the final product. The product owner's job is to ensure product requirements, functionality and priorities are understood and achieved. Scrum Master. Scrum Master is responsible for arranging the daily meetings, improving team interactions and maximizing productivity. The difference between the product manager and Scrum Master is that the latter focuses on being a servant leader. The Agile project manager's roles and responsibilities often include for the position of the Scrum Master. However, they can delegate this to anyone on the team who is Scrum expert and the strong facilitator. Development team. The development team is your Scrum project team. It is typically self-organized and cross-skilled team. The team includes all the people necessary to design, product, test and release the product. Scrum also has some unique terminology. The following are key terms commonly used in the Scrum framework. Product backlog. The backlog is a list of tasks and requirements that you must include in the final product. It is the product owner's responsibility to create and manage the backlog. Sprint. A sprint is a set time frame for completing each set of tasks from the backlog. Every sprint should be the same length. 2 weeks is typical, but the sprint can be anywhere between 1 to 4 weeks depending on the team and project needs. Backlog planning. Backlog planning, sometimes called a Agile sprint planning, refers to determining which task on the backlog list you will include in each sprint. Sprint backlog. The portion of the backlog that is assigned to the current sprint. Daily Scrum. A Scrum project team meets every day to discuss any progress over the last 24 hours. Progress expected in the next 24 hours and any new problems. These meetings are typically referred to as daily scrum or daily stand-up and generally take about 15 minutes. Retrospective. Each sprint should end with a review meeting called a retrospective. The team reviews their progress so far and discusses how they can improve in the next sprint. Scrum board. A Scrum board helps your team to see and manage the sprint backlog. It can be physical board such as a whiteboard or a virtual one within a project management tool. The board typically has 3 columns: to do, in progress and done. As you complete backlog items, you move them from one column to the next on the board. This way, everyone can see what they need to do during the current sprint and how the work progresses. Artifact. The product backlog, the sprint backlog and the product increments are the 3 Scrum artifacts within a project. The product backlog and sprint backlog represents work still to be done, and the product increment is the portion of the product that the team has already completed during the current sprint. Extinct programming or XP follows a short and frequent release cycle focused on continuous feedback. The process begins with release planning, where customer requirements are captured as user stories. These stories are divided into short iterations lasting 1 to 2 weeks. During each iteration, design, coding and testing happen together using practices like pair programming and test-driven development. At the end of every iteration, a small working release is delivered to the customer. Customer feedback is then used to plan the next release, ensuring flexibility and high quality software. And development progress phase by phase. In conventional models, customer involvement is limited and testing is performed after implementations. Agile models, on the other hand, follow an iterative and incremental approach. Development is carried out in short cycles called iterations or sprints. In Agile, customer involvement is continuous and changes in requirements are welcomed even at later stages also. Testing in Agile is integrated throughout the development process, ensuring early defect detections. While conventional models are best suited for projects with stable and well-defined requirements, Agile methods are ideal for dynamic projects where requirements frequently changed. Conventional models emphasize planning and predictability, whereas Agile models focuses on flexibility, collaboration and rapid delivery.